We are back to make dinner once again. Oh, that's right. Okay, so for everybody on YouTube, well, first off, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're gonna make another 5-star salad for you all. And we're gonna make a new dressing that I came up with last night, and it's very similar to the dressing that we made 2 nights ago. And so before we get started, we got new microphones going on right now, so if there's anybody on YouTube,
I'm checking.
Oh, okay, that can let us know how the mic, how it sounds. Is it too loud?
You gotta keep talking.
Oh, I gotta keep talking. All right, so tonight we're gonna have some spinach, we're gonna have some kale, we're gonna have tomatoes, celery, carrots, cucumber, some red cabbage, and I'm sure some other stuff too. But how does it sound good?
Perfect.
All right, cool. All right, so
And some other stuff too.
also what we're going to talk about tonight, we got a few things that we thought about talking about. One thing is my 10-year raw vegan anniversary is tomorrow, so that's exciting. And we have the publishing of my next recipe ebook coming out tomorrow. And so that's pretty exciting, so we can talk a little bit about that. And then we got some nitric oxide topic to cover, and so hopefully you'll find that interesting. But let's start with washing our greens. Did you wash these ahead of time? No? Okay.
So just take half and I'll wash mine.
Oh, oops, I'll take that one.
Were you counting?
Yes. All right, so like always, guys, we've got the big bowl of distilled water here to wash our vegetables. It's very, very important to use clean water, and we like to use distilled water. Okay.
Cindy Compton says, I thought you said you're not eating just raw anymore. That was me that said that. So I currently have some basmati rice in the Instant Pot, and I'm making it Mexican style tonight. And I'm steaming in our other Instant Pot, who is a family member's Instant Pot.
Yeah.
Some broccoli to eat with my salad.
Yes. And so for me, I'm not saying I'm 100% raw, but I still consider myself a raw foodist. You know, the term raw foodist basically means, and it depends on who you talk to, but essentially being a raw foodist, saying that you eat a raw food diet, it's really, again, depending on who you talk to, it can be anywhere from 80% raw to 100% raw. So, you know, 95% of what I eat is raw. And so I still consider that being raw.
We're not raw as law.
Yeah, I'm not dogmatic about it. I use this diet to fit my situation. And so this is, at this point in time, the best raw food diet that I feel that I can eat. And so that's what I do. And so for people out there that are, that's the one thing I want to get across, especially with my book, my actual physical book that I'm writing. It's not 100% raw or nothing. You know, you're still you can still consider yourself a raw foodist if you include some cooked foods. So, and that's just my opinion. So maybe there's other people out there that would say strictly you're not a raw foodist if you don't eat 100% raw. But then I think we would have maybe 5 raw foodists on the planet, because nobody out there is truly eating 100% raw unless they're growing all their own food. They know exactly where it came from. Most of the nuts and seeds are either cooked somehow, heated somehow. Many of the so-called raw vegan snack foods out there that a lot of raw foodists tend to eat, they're cooked. And so, we're not dogmatic about it. And so that is why I'm always, if I ever start to, which I won't, but if I were ever to just shun the raw food diet and start eating 50 or to 100% cooked food, then I'll say that I'm not a raw foodist. But eating just a few steamed vegetables and other whole cooked plant foods, which only make up a very tiny portion of my diet, still going to consider myself a raw foodist. And so even in the 10 years tomorrow, I wasn't 100% raw that whole time. So
you were 99.9.
Yeah, but I consider my transition to the raw food. This is my raw food journey essentially. When I first started out, I was probably, I don't know, 50% raw until I started to learn more and I started to incorporate more. And my goal was never even actually to be a raw foodist. It was essentially just I was following the foods that were making me feel good. And so I just naturally became a raw foodist without even trying, really. So yeah.
I was 100% raw for 2 years. Basically only ate fruit and sometimes salads. And I was so dogmatic about it. And I thought I was going to be that way forever because of how good I felt on just raw. And honestly, I feel really good now adding in some cooked, just because since my surgery last year, I just haven't been the same. So I think it's like, if you think back to before you ever heard of the raw food diet, isn't it crazy to think that, eating some steamed broccoli or steamed potatoes or something like that we would think it's bad for you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that we would think it's detrimental to our healing journey. Like, I have to just remember that balance is so important. And just like Matt said, it's a raw food journey. Just because I found out about raw veganism in 2017 doesn't mean I have to jump all the way up to the top of the raw food pyramid,
Yeah. And to be honest, the people that are the most dogmatic about this diet, I mean, it's really, they're the ones that usually fall off the hardest. They're the ones that end up going carnivore or some ridiculous style of eating because they blame their strict, restrictive mindset and diet for how they felt. And so understanding, again, how to make this diet work for your situation and not modeling it off of somebody on the other side of the world that's living in a completely different situation, I think is the solution to the raw food diet, the issues, the intimidation that people have with it. And so it's really just about keeping a healthy perspective and just putting into context what whole plant foods do in the body. It's like and I'm not trying to put down anybody that wants to be 100% raw.
We think it's great.
I think it's the best. I think it's the best way to eat if you have the right environment and the right food available to you. If it works for you based on, again, that 5 yes test. I didn't actually call it the 5 yes test last time, but that's the 5 questions that I mentioned in either the last one or 2 videos ago. You have to answer yes to all 5 of those questions in order to really know if the style that you're eating or the different selections that you're making are going to benefit you in the long term, and they're gonna help you sustain this healthy way of eating and living. Because a lot of people will not be able to answer all 5 of those questions as a yes, and that's why they burn themselves out and they end up going off on a completely different direction. And so again, this, like Celine just reiterated, it's such a long journey.
Yeah.
You got to understand
be in it for the long haul.
The system that we live in, it's not conducive to health, 1, and 2, it's certainly not conducive to a raw vegan diet. It can be done, and again, I'm not trying to put down or discourage anybody from trying to be 100% raw, but it's important. Over the last 10 years of watching people go through this diet, and it's always the strictest, most,
because they give themselves something to fall off of, If you do it slow and steady and it's just a gradual incline, you're not going to fall. But if you jump up too high, that's when you can fall too hard.
Right.
And like for me, my personal long-term journey is probably 100% raw most days, whereas most days I do eat a type of steamed veggie. But it's just, if I'm feeling fine now, why do I need to push myself when our circumstances don't even make it? Actually, honestly, it's just that my body is not ready for it. It's not. Cindy asks, can one still heal diseases while eating steamed vegetables?
Of course. I mean, look at Dr. Esselstyn. He wasn't putting his patients on a raw food diet, and they were reversing their end-stage heart disease. Look at Dr. McDougall's program. People that go on his program are reversing their rheumatoid arthritis. So it's not a black and white, this or that thing. Healing can take place. I mean, there's people that heal without even changing their diet. They change their mindset.
Yeah.
You have to take it into a full picture. It's not just diet that is going to heal us. Diet doesn't heal us in the first place. Diet gives the body material to, maintain and promote health, but the body is the one doing the healing, and the mind, I would say the mind is maybe the biggest factor with healing. On top, there's so many things. Environmental contaminants, putting yourself in a healthy environment, clearing your mindset of negativity and toxic thinking. Of course, eating a clean diet. Diet is the foundation, but it's not the end-all, be-all. So, yes, you can certainly heal. And most of my clients eat cooked food, and they still heal. So, it's like the dog
It's outdated.
It's counterproductive to. It's just so out.
So how do you feel about salt? Cindy asked.
And personally, so salt, I don't believe we should be adding salt. A little bit here and there, and again, it's going to vary based on the person. So, somebody with high blood pressure or renal issues probably are not going to want to add any salt. Somebody that has absolutely no health conditions that they know of, and everything else is good, they're healthy, adding a little bit of salt here and there isn't going to be a problem. So it's a case by case basis. Everybody would have to determine that for themselves, but personally, I don't add salt hardly at all. Sometimes I will, but it's very rare that I will add any salt to any of my food, and I think for the most part, it's not something that we want to be doing on a regular basis, and that's what worked for me. And I just think that it's important to recognize the dogma that surrounds a 100% food raw diet. It's my ideal. I'm not going to lie. That's where I want to be. But where I'm at right now, the best health that I've ever had, 10 years into this lifestyle, and so that's I think if more people were to use a conscious structure and again the flexibility to this lifestyle rather than really going extreme and really being dogmatic about it, I think it would have helped a lot of people that I've watched over these last 10 years that are no longer even eating a vegan diet. And again, this is all, there's certain situations where certainly 100% raw is the way to go in this system, right? The system we live in, there's the westernized, sick society that we live in. You can still certainly be 100% raw when you need to be. So sometimes that's what it takes. So I'm just speaking from my journey right now and just what I've witnessed over the last 10 years. So again, not trying to discourage anybody from being 100% raw if that's what
you're called to do.
Yeah, what they're called to do, exactly. Because again, I have been 100% raw the majority of this 10 years. It's just having that flexibility and not just falling into dogma. That's just my big thing. I look at the people, the so-called authorities in this niche, that promote this lifestyle. I would think differently about it if we didn't have, if we had more examples of people eating this way, living this lifestyle, and outliving everybody else. But we don't have that. So based on my observations of other people that have been in this lifestyle, including people like Herbert Shelton and Paul Bragg. Paul Bragg lived a long time. I think he was like 90. Well, his final age is debatable, I guess. But, a lot of these people, they didn't make their hundreds. And so for the people that are
about the blue zones.
That's what I'm getting at.
Cool.
The people that are so dogmatic about this, these people that have established themselves in this community, that say cooked food is poison, when they reach 100 years old, then maybe I'll give them a little more credit. But until then, I don't have any examples of people that have been living this lifestyle that have even made it close to that. So, and I'm not saying that the raw food diet is the reason for that, but I'm just saying if we're gonna make those extreme or those strong claims, then I want to see the evidence of where they're getting that information. Now again, the blue zones. The blue zones are the people that are most commonly at least in the past. Now they're more modernized, and they're coming back down to where most of the other westernized societies are. But throughout the past, the blue zones were traditionally living longer than the rest of us, and they were not eating 100% raw food. So, you know, it just goes to show there's so much more to health and longevity than diet. Now, I do believe that the raw vegan diet is our optimal diet, but I'm not going to be making dogmatic claims that I can't back up, saying that you have to eat 100% raw in order to live a long, healthy life, because there's plenty of examples in the blue zones that would prove that to be false, you know? So, again, that's my take, just based on my observations.
When I heard that I think it was the Okinawans lived off primarily sweet potatoes.
Yeah, right.
I took that and ran.
Yeah.
Sweet potatoes are my favorite meal.
Yeah.
And they had one of the longest and healthiest lifespans.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And again, it's more than just the sweet potatoes, you know. It's
the
not
lifestyle.
Yeah, it's the lifestyle. It's way.
They had living
they,
outside.
They lived closer to nature. They ate way less food. They weren't stuffing themselves every single night. What is that? What is their word? Is it?
I
forget the.
I can't remember either. I live by that, where you only eat till you're 80% full.
Right. It's like.
It starts with a H.
Maybe, I forget.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Anyways, they traditionally would eat until they were, you know, not completely full, until they were about 80% full. So again, intermittent fasting has been shown to increase longevity. Fasting is the only scientifically proven method of extending lifespan. So, you know, again, they were eating much less food than we were, or than we do. And so
Harahachibu?
Harahachibu? That might be it, yeah. I think that is it. I forget. But I think that's it.
Watch, I said something so different. I think it's like Harahachibu.
No.
Just one?
It was right the first time.
Oh, I gave you half of my celery.
Oh, thanks.
What? I picked those ones
Oh,
up.
you want this one right here then?
Yeah. I gave you your own stash. Because I thought I was going to take too long to cut everything.
Yeah.
Since I didn't wash the lettuce.
Mm-hmm.
All of that red leaf lettuce is for you.
Cool.
I already took some.
Okay. All right, so we got some red leaf kale, we got some red leaf lettuce, we have spinach, we have purple or red cabbage, red onion, is that what you got in there?
Yes.
Red onion.
Bell pepper.
Bell pepper.
Oh, my mic's off.
Oh no. Any other questions out there?
Yes. Wayne says, hold on.
Okay.
Lisa says, I think quality of life is more important than quantity. A lot of people live into their hundreds, but sometimes on machines in hospitals.
Yeah, that's true.
And Cindy says, thank you for answering. I always like to pick your brain.
You're welcome.
Let's see. And Lisa also asks, what are those chopping boards made of? They're actually not made of wood. These are just plastic ones.
Yeah. Not ideal.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but we love the size.
Yeah, they're huge.
Is anyone else like this? I don't like to cut on wood or bamboo. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like the texture of that.
No, I don't.
I don't know
I don't
why.
either. The thing with, and actually I did think about that before I bought these cutting boards. I didn't really want plastic cutting boards, but when I was looking into it, it seemed that they were the least likely, one, they were gonna last the longest, two, they were the least likely to get like little bacteria pouches in the cuts when you cut it. You know, we're only cutting vegetables and fruits, obviously, but and then I kind of figured, you know, we're not cooking, you know, there's no heat being applied to this, and so I don't know how much it could transfer anything over to the food. And it kind of goes the same with people that comment about like the juicer. You know, juicers are typically made of plastic, and the little container that the juice falls into is plastic. I don't know how much contamination that's going to cause. I think the most, and not that I want to use plastic, if I could avoid it, I definitely would. But in my mind, we're not cooking in the plastic. You know, I think that's where the most of the transfer happens, is when you're going into extreme temperatures. And so when you cook, obviously, or people that use microwaves, if you microwave something in a plastic container, that's going to increase the amount of plastics, you know, microplastics that get into the food. And so, or the other chemicals, the xenoestrogens and all that. So that's just kind of, you know, where we're at with the cutting boards at this point.
The cutting board situation.
You know,
We love our cutting boards.
Yeah, they're
We
just,
really do.
they're so big and they work so nicely. And I just think they look nice. But if we find a better option, and if anybody knows of a better option out there, please let us know.
Where'd you get him?
I think,
No one's asking. I'm just wondering.
I think I got them at Target.
Really?
Yeah.
My friend has the same ones.
Really?
I never asked where she got them, but yeah. Oh, you guys, a couple of episodes ago were asking, where did Matt get his bowl? This one?
Yeah.
It's on Amazon. So just search on Amazon wooden bowl, like large wooden bowl, and it will show up. And it's called something like Acacia large wooden bowl, 12-inch diameter, something like that.
I think you linked it.
I did, I linked it.
Yeah,
but
you linked it in one of the past videos.
yeah, but just in case.
Yeah.
Because now we have a number of recent videos. It might be hard to see which video it was.
Yeah. So just to reiterate, everybody, that you know, I hope one day we can get to a society where we have a food system that makes it much more practical for people to be 100% raw. That I dream of that, and that's what I think would be ideal for everybody. But yeah, I don't want it to come across as, I don't think people should try to be 100% raw. I just think people should go into it with the correct, practicality, and, understand that if you can't, for whatever reason, be 100% raw all the time, that it's not something to feel bad about or to feel like you failed or, anything like that. So that's my message, and because I've just seen way too much of, what I was talking about earlier, where people, the strictest people usually are the ones that fall the hardest, and we just see them going off into some crazy stuff.
Other extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't want that to happen. I don't want to not promote the benefits and just the magic of a raw food diet. And again, I still consider myself, purely a raw foodist, even though I don't always eat 100% raw. So again, it's about using conscious cooking methods when you need to, and that's what the traffic light system that I'm going to be having in my book, that's what the whole purpose of the traffic light system is for. It's to give people that flexibility, give people that structure, and that understanding of how to use consciously cooked plant foods to complement your core green light foods of the raw fruits and vegetables. So, yeah, that's what we're coming out with.
Do you think an example, this is a good example, like, okay, picture an attorney, right? And that's their job. Like, they are an attorney like 75% of the time, technically.
Yep.
And then they're home like 30% of the time. Or maybe it's not, whatever. Something like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the equivalent of saying you're a raw foodist, but just because you eat some steamed vegetables doesn't mean you're not a raw foodist. Just like the attorney goes home and they're a father or a mother or a husband or something, doesn't mean they're not an attorney anymore.
Exactly.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah, no, that's a good example. I kind of look at it kind of
Sorry.
in the same.
You said we're all raw foodists. It's just what percentage of raw are we eating?
Exactly.
Yeah. Is that what you were gonna say?
I completely agree. No, but I agree with that. It's just like we're all frugivores. People don't want to
Our anatomy.
acknowledge that. Yeah. Based on our anatomy, and physiology, we are frugivores. People want to say we're herbivores, and that's fine, whatever. But the thing is, if the people that say that we're omnivores because we eat meat and we don't die, I always say then that same person would have to consider a cow as an omnivore, because they feed dead and sick cows that they've killed, and they mash up and they put it into the cow's feed. And so these cows that are in factory farms are eating dead cows. So one, they're cannibals, not by choice, but by, they're being forced to be. But they don't die right away either. So is a cow an omnivore? I don't think anybody with any logic would consider a cow an omnivore. But that's just the point, is that they can eat cows, and they also eat other farm animals that have died, like sheep and pigs and things like that. And so, and that's where the whole mad cow disease thing came from, because they were eating their other cows, so, which is still going on. I've tried to get an interview with Howard Lyman, who was a very successful cattle rancher he was in various places, Montana, and then I think Texas, and that region. And then I can't remember the exact story of how he ended up going vegan. Now he's a vegan activist. He goes to many events and gives talks. And he has the book Mad Cowboy. He has another one as well. I can't remember what it's called. I think I have it. But Mad Cowboy is a great book if you've never read it, or if you want somebody that you don't, or somebody that you want to educate about why they should be vegan, or at least plant-based. You could have them read that book, because that's pretty eye-opening. How that industry works, and how they raise animals that are used for food. So. Mad Cowboy. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I would really like to get an interview with him, but I just haven't found a way to contact him.
Jeffrey says it's the indoctrination system. We need to fix that.
Yeah. Agreed. I really hope there's a way, especially over the last year, I just hope that it's opened people's eyes to the system that we live in, and just the integrity of our institutions and of the people that other people consider leaders. I do not call them that, or even think remotely of them that way. I really hope that people are using this as motivation to do more homeschooling and taking their kids out of this system that basically pumps out employees and servants, and really teaching kids a true education about how to be good people and how to create on this planet. We need more creators. We need less, and obviously they're putting more and more jobs into technology, so everything is getting automated. So it's even more motivation for people to become inventors and, pioneers in their own way, because we all have a special gift, I believe, that we came to this planet to share with the rest of the world. And, schooling and just our societal structure really pounds that out of kids and gets them just not understanding who they are and what they're capable of. And so again, I hope that what's going on right now is, while it's painful, I think it hopefully it's going to lead to something much better than what we were dealing with over these last, I don't know how long, many years.
When you don't eat raw, what do you eat? What are some of your cooked indulgences? I'm going to go first so I can go do the dishes. So when I don't eat fully raw, I would say this for me and Matt, we don't really have any indulgences, like where we eat something amazing like Indian food or something.
Yeah.
Where we still never eat oil. We still never eat like really anything fried. You can mention how you make the potatoes.
Fried.
Well, it's like French fries, but
oh yeah.
But like my indulgences is I eat sweet potatoes. I love to eat sweet potatoes, and I love to eat white rice.
That's called baked, by the way, not fried.
Oh yeah. Okay, your French fries.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everything else I eat is just steamed veggies. So steamed cauliflower, broccoli. Sometimes I'll like make a kind of a soup, but it's just like celery and carrot and tomato and bell pepper. It's just to kind of like make a broth kind of thing. And then, yeah, I think that's it. I don't really do quinoa. My body hasn't been loving that, but the acidity, I guess, of the white rice My body likes that level of slow detox. Yeah. Okay, your turn.
For me, I mean, it's really pretty basic. It's steamed, you know, some of Celine's leftovers, like cauliflower and broccoli, mushrooms, not a lot of steamed mushrooms, but
Like
a significant amount, yeah.
Four
Steamed
at a time,
mushrooms.
the
I would say an indulgence that I do, which is hardly an indulgence. It's outside of the conscious cooking that I strive for. Would be baked French fries. I just cut up some potatoes, no oil or anything. I might put some like garlic granules and Cajun seasoning. Yeah, and then I just bake them, and then that's what I have. That would be, I think, my furthest indulgence, you know. So otherwise, it's just steamed vegetables, or you know, over the winters especially, sometimes we'll make like a split pea soup, which is just pure all vegetables and distilled water. There's no oils or anything like that. Really simple, clean, basic foods is essentially, if I'm going to eat anything cooked, that's what it's going to be. And then I did have, when my brother was here, we were making more beans. They make a lot of beans. And so I would have like a scoop of beans in my salad. And so, you know, yeah, no oils. You can just assume anytime we're talking about cooked food, there's never going to be oils in it.
And cooked with clean water.
Yeah, and it's always distilled water. So.
That's why we call it conscious cooking.
Right, yeah. Conscious cooking, I think, is a perfect term for, you know, doing your best to limit the amount of, you know, degradation of the food when you're cooking it. I think certainly striving to use a moist cooking method is the best way to cook food. It just reduces the nutrients the least compared to baking and obviously frying and things like that. It's just, frying doesn't even come into the like thought process for me. I just wouldn't eat fried food. It's just so, ugh, I just wouldn't do it. It would make me feel awful. Kind of like the story that the example that I've given, after I had done quite a bit of detoxing way back 10 years ago, I had, you know, been juicing a lot and, you know, fasting and all these other, you know, mono fruit cleanses. And I went to a birthday party at a restaurant, and it was still pretty early, and I don't remember exactly when it was, but it was probably within the first year or maybe 2 years of living this way, or, you know, learning how to live this way. And I wasn't eating animal products at the time. I don't know if I would consider myself vegan, because it was a little later that I really made that connection after I saw the documentary Earthlings, that I really understood veganism, and I really connected that meat was dead animals, you know, and that we had absolutely no requirement to eat them, and then to see how we treated them was just, it really hit me hard. But yeah, so I was at the birthday party, and the only thing on the menu that seemed even, you know, appetizing was some fried green beans. So I was like, oh, that's plant-based, so I'll have the fried green beans. And so they brought them out, and they looked pretty good, but still not the greatest. I was already kind of understanding that fried foods was not something I wanted to be consuming. And so I literally think I had maybe 4, if that. I had like less than 5, I think. And later that night, I started getting like gurgly in my stomach, and I just was feeling a little bit off. And then that night, over the night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and we'll just say I was covered in my own waste. And so I spent literally, okay, I can't remember now, it was like probably at least a week, maybe 10 days, I don't remember now, but it was at least a week where I literally could not leave the toilet. I could not leave the bathroom. I did leave it once, or at one point, but I still carried a bucket with me because literally I would have seconds to react. And so I lost a lot of weight because I couldn't eat anything, I could hardly drink anything, and I was evacuating out of both ends. And so
sad.
Yeah. So that was my last real healing crisis, I would say, brought on by some toxic fried food. Was it food poisoning? Maybe, but other people ate those foods and were perfectly fine. Like, I shared the fried green beans with other people, so it was not like some crazy food poisoning that was happening. It was literally my body I had reawoken the alarm systems, the safety mechanisms in my body through my detoxing and my cleansing. And so now my body was able to react. It had the nerve energy to recognize and react to those toxins and flush them out of my body and clean house. Whereas the people that were eating the same food that I was eating didn't even react. You know, they felt normal the next day. So, yeah, that was my big healing crisis. And after that, you know, it was like, it was one of the most difficult weeks of my life. So, yeah. Fun story, though.
I like story time.
Yeah. All right. Wow, it is after 7 already. Thanks, everybody that's still here watching. I'm going to make this dressing now. So I made something similar to this last time with basil, but this time we're going to use Cajun. And I really like this dressing. This is maybe one of my favorite dressings now. So,
Did you memorize the recipe?
I think so. It was almost identical to the last one. So I did 2 tablespoons of raw almonds. Now that's something that I would do my best not to compromise on cooked fats. You know, you always want to do your best to make sure they are actually raw nuts and seeds. The more you cooked fats, the more advanced glycation end products you produce in them, and that creates more oxidative stress and more inflammation and more premature aging. And so the fats need to be in their raw state. Otherwise they oxidize and they rancidify, and then they cause issues in the body. They cause issues in your tissues.
Did you just make that up?
Yes.
I like that.
Thank you. All right, so that was 2 tablespoons of raw almonds. Now I've got, for some selenium, I'm going to add in 1 Brazil nut. And hey, everybody that I see waving on the Instagram. Okay, and then we've got 1/2 of a lemon, which is peeled. So 1/2 of a peeled lemon. Just throw the whole thing in. Take 1 medjool date. And take the pit out. Then we've got garlic granules. We're doing 1 teaspoon of, this isn't the actual original container, but it's Cajun seasoning. Any organic Cajun seasoning would work. This is Natural Grocers brand. I think it's Vitamin Cottage. So 1 teaspoon of Cajun. Can anybody notice is the sound better in this video? Somebody let me know. And then we've got 1 teaspoon of garlic granules. And then that's it.
They're
and then,
asking if it's soaked almonds.
Ideally, yes, please soak them. These aren't, but it is best, I think, to soak the nuts and seeds. So we're a little lazy.
Never remember.
Yeah, we've been a little lazy lately. We haven't been soaking them. I think it is the best, especially for people with digestive discomfort, digestive issues. If you are just getting into like trying to heal your gut issues, or you just have digestive issues in general, I would say soak the nuts and seeds all the time. You want to get off those enzyme inhibitors that are going to prevent your body from breaking them down. And so to make it easiest on the body, yeah, soak and rinse. Okay, so and then we just need 3/4 of a cup of distilled or otherwise clean water. All right, so to recap, that's 2 tablespoons of almonds, 1 Brazil nut. The Brazil nut's optional. I mean, you don't have to put that in there. I just like to, again, get that extra selenium potential. 1/2 of a lemon peeled, 1 medjool date, 1 teaspoon of garlic granules, and 1 teaspoon of Cajun seasoning. All right. What?
The date fit.
Oh. And I was going to mention, I was just so I'm reading this book right now. I'm actually reading several books right now, but this is the book that I just kind of skimmed through. It's called the Nitric Oxide Solution. Pretty good little book, and I was just seeing, I found another benefit to leaving in the stem of the leaf when you're making your salad. You know, don't just rip off the stem. You want to include that. Like I've said in the past, it's like the umbilical cord of the leaf. And so that's where all those nutrients were coming through. And this book says that, I'm sorry, the stalk. The technical word is the stalk of the leaf. The stem is the part that supports the leaves and the flowers. So it's, you know, what comes out of the ground, that main stem. And then the stalk is, yes, that would be the stem, I guess.
This is the stalk, or I mean the stem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And this is the stalk.
Yes.
And then on the leaf, the one in the middle is the midrib.
So,
so this is the midrib.
no, that's the stalk.
This one, right?
That's a stalk. I think the midrib is the same thing as the stalk.
These ones are the midrib.
Oh, sure, yeah.
These ones are the midrib. This one's the stalk.
Yep. So you want to keep that stalk in your salad. So chop that up really finely as well. Don't just rip off just the leafy green part. You want to have the whole thing in there.
Oh, my mic was off.
Oh, no. I think you can still hear pretty good on mine. So this little section of the book says the best part, and it says different parts of vegetables are higher in nitrates than others. From the most to the least, the order is the stalk. So the stalk has the most nitrates of the parts of the plants. So that means your body is going to take those nitrates, as long as you have a good oral microbiome and a good gut microbiome, because the bacteria are what are going to convert those nitrates into nitrites, and then it's going to get converted into nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is like lubricant to your blood vessels. It's an antioxidant. It's antiviral, antibacterial. It's just like a super important chemical. I think it works as a neurotransmitter as well, so it's almost like a hormone. There's a lot of different uses in the body for it. And so keeping that stalk of the leaf in your salad, that's going to really boost your nitric oxide potential. Second most concentrated part is the leaf. Third part is the stem. Fourth is the root. Fifth is flowers. Sixth is the bulb. Seventh is fruit. And the eighth is the seed. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And the book also talks about the importance of having a high content of antioxidants in your body, because the antioxidant, the nitric oxide, is actually a very volatile compound, and it doesn't have the longest shelf life, if you want to say it that way. So it needs a high antioxidant environment in order to survive, to get to where the body needs it. Otherwise, if you have a lot of free radicals in your body, a lot of oxidative stress, the free radicals kind of just use up that nitric oxide. They quench, they eliminate that nitric oxide, and actually creates nitrosamine compounds that are harmful. So you want that nitric oxide going to benefit the cells rather than intermingling with a bunch of free radicals that are going to actually create more oxidation. So I thought that was interesting. Thought I'd share that with you guys. Good little book if you want to check it out. The Nitric Oxide Solution by Nathan Bryan. Yeah, Dr. Nathan Bryan and Janet Zand with Bill Gatib. Okay, so back to the dressing. Oh, and I never showed you guys this nice looking salad. That is a 5-star salad if I've ever seen one. So just imagine sitting down to this big bowl of love. To my Instagram peeps, to YouTube. All right, so now do you want to take a video or?
A what?
Nah, that's all right. So there you go. That is gonna be delicious. Let me Just do a quick taste test here. Oh, yeah. Now it's a little spicy. So if you want it less spicy, I think it's perfect actually, but if you want it a little less spicy, you could do maybe half a teaspoon of the Cajun, because the Cajun is a little spicy. But for me, I personally, wow, that is easily one of my favorite dressings. So, yeah, I'm kind of liking the almonds now. You know, all these years I just have kind of, you know, years ago I actually would use almonds in my dressings, but I hadn't really figured out the right way to use them, and now that I've, you know, kind of honed in the way to make dressings, adding them back in has been really nice. They're super creamy and they just have a nice, hearty, nutty flavor to them. So
they're kind of sweet.
Yeah, and a little sweet too. So that's pretty cool. So anyways, guys, there you have it. I hope you guys will make this. And guys, remember, if you're making these 5-star salads, please, hashtag 5-star salad so I see them. And also just tag me on your social media, especially Instagram. You know, just tag me in there. I'd love to see your guys' creations, your 5-star salad creations. And like I said, tomorrow is my 10-year. So I will admit that I don't know the exact day. Because as I said, I transitioned into this lifestyle not necessarily with the goal of being a raw vegan, right? So I had already gotten into this. I was already working with basically the principles of this lifestyle without even knowing it. So I just say April 1st of 2011 was my first day, but to be honest, it might have been earlier. So it's just a general guess, and so that's just the day that I went with, and so it's a chosen birthday. So yeah, I hope you guys will check out the ebook that's coming out tomorrow. You'll see all the details. I'll be making plenty of posts about it. Dang, this dressing would have been nice to put in there, but that's okay. It'll go in the next. It's going in the big book, of course. So, guys, you just watch my videos. You don't even have to buy my book. So there you go. You got all the recipes right here. Anything else? No. Okay. All right. Well, thank you again, guys. Thank you, everybody on Instagram and on YouTube. And until next time, always follow your raw intuition. Oh, yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.